We're losing a good one.
The Dan York State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Taco Comfort Solutions.
I love Friday nights because we had a chance to just kick back and expand on matters or people, and tonight is one of those nights. Frankly, I've been wondering, when the heck is he just going to say enough of this? I really thought about it, I don't know, about 9 months ago, 8-9 months ago, when he and I were getting after each other. We're just commiserating about it prior to the show. And of course, he handled the situation perfectly. But I thought to myself, he's healthy. I don't know if he's got a golf game, but at what juncture will he finally say enough? I'm talking about, as you can see from the headline, the Colonel of the Rhode Island, the Warwick State Police. I got the Colonel of the Warwick Police Department. Boy, 2019's been hard for me. Stephen McCartney is my guest. He announced his retirement at the end of the calendar year. He actually finished working in the office just prior to Christmas, and he hardly needs any introduction, but here's the Eyewitness News story on the development.
Been hemming and hawing about this for a while.
After 19 years at the helm of the Warwick Police Department, Colonel Stephen McCartney is retiring. He started his career in the Marine Corps in 1969 and went on to work for Providence Police. Now a break, something he hasn't had, well, ever.
I left Providence on a Friday, and I started Warwick on Monday.
During his time leading Warwick's police force, McCartney remembers the haunting images in the aftermath of the station nightclub fire.
I saw funeral cars lined up down Route 3 for as far as you could see.
And he counts the unsolved murder of Jack Fay, a jogger killed in Warwick City Park, as a source of ongoing frustration.
We will continue to work that until we can give that family closure and justice.
But McCartney recalls the good times, too, and still gets a laugh out of his department reaching national heights on the TV show Live PD.
I fell asleep watching it almost every time I watched it, but I did find out that I have some people that are on the cusp of being movie stars.
McCartney says a lot has changed from his days on the beat in the mid-1970s.
I can remember even the way that we used to get dispatched calls. You wrote it on a card, and you sent it up on this little thing up to the dispatcher, who looked at the card. Well, what do you mean by this? And then they'd put the call out.
And with change comes transition.
All good things have to come to an end. Now's as good a time as any. And I'm going to look forward to sorting it all out.
I can't believe he hasn't sorted it all out already. But you want to talk about a combination of the old-fashioned good stuff that we want from law enforcement management, with an instinctive modern understanding that talking things through is the best solution. I've always admired the Colonel. He knows that. We've had some good rat-a-tat-tats over the long tenure. We both have been here. You much longer and much more important than mine. But I've always admired that about you. Congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you very much, Dan.
You feel good, right?
I feel great.
So it was time. Did you know it for a long time, a short time?
No, you reach a certain feeling. You know, when you say, look, you're in your 70s now, what else do you need to accomplish? And I was really spending my last 2 years mentoring, working with our younger prospects, so to speak, because I know I wanted them to get ready to move up, talk things over with them. How would you handle this particular situation? I really felt pretty good about that, and then I just reached a point in time that I said, you know what? I feel good about where people are in this department, the command structure. It's time to let them get out there and let them rip, let them get it going.
It feels very subtle to me, as opposed to a aha moment, right?
Somewhat. somewhat. You know, it's a period of adjustment. I've had a few nights here where I've sat back and said, I got to get on this. And I'm still getting up early in the morning and going to the gym. And even my wife has said, what are you doing that for? She said, you know, take your time. And I said, no, I've been used to doing this. I even know the people who are in the gym at the particular time I'm there.
Right.
I'm comfortable
There's
with
a
it.
comfortable and community part of that, right?
Yeah, there's some collegiality,
Sure.
communication. You know, they know how I'm doing my thing, and they're always asking me, well, geez, how old are you now? And I said, well, I'm 71. You know, well, that's pretty good. So, you know, we talk about different things that we're doing and to try to keep our health going, and it just seemed to all work out every day. We have a nice little discussion.
I want to talk about the job and how law enforcement is evolved. All industries do, and so yours is not exempt from that. But I want to reflect, if we can, on what I said at the top, and that is, I've always viewed you as kind of like a meats and potatoes type of guy. I don't know that I have paid enough attention to the day in, day out activities of the Warwick Police Department to prove that, but my instinct is that you've been pretty much a meat and potatoes guy. It is what it is. Yet you've always known that being upfront, being communicative, being available, being transparent has been important. And no one had to teach you that, or did somebody teach you that?
Well,
do I have it right? Do you feel like I have it right?
We're all a product of our experience.
Okay.
My experience started, you know, I cut my teeth with the Marines. And we spent a lot of time talking about leadership. And particularly when you're in very adverse situations like we were in Vietnam, you know, you had to look your troops in the eye, and they're looking for you, and you're trying to develop that synergistic quality with them to continue to deal in a very difficult situation and challenging situation, particularly when you're losing people. Because, you know, every time you lost somebody, even though we were different than they are today, where they have peer support and everything else, we didn't have that back in those days, but we had our own brotherhood. And when you lost a brother, it was tough. And you really had to sit down and say, okay, now you got to rise to the challenge. Look these guys in the eye, and you got to be able to explain to them, why are we going over the same ground again, and we're still taking casualties? And of course, a lot of people are bitter about that,
Sure.
but you had to look at it.
Did you have an answer?
You're a
'Cause you know what?
mission-oriented situation here.
The politics, now that we know the story, the politics drove some really, really bad decisions. Did you have a better answer in real time?
Well, yeah, I suppose now that we look back on it with the benefit of the Monday morning quarterback, hindsight, I thought that Ken Burns' show was very telling. I've watched it 3 or 4 times, went back over it, and I said, wow. I said, I don't know if I agree with what that guy's saying, because there were some guys on there that were bitter, but I can respect it. And I think that's important, that even though I may not agree with somebody, I have to understand where he's coming from. So I know that there were 2 Marines that were there in 1967. Now, I didn't get there till 1970. But I knew 1967 was a horrible year. We were losing 200 and 300 Americans every week. And I had several kids I grew up with in Boston. I went to their funerals, and I knew that it was going to be me stepping up to the plate. I was batter up at some point in time, because I went through a big battle with my mother that I don't want to get into right now. She was not happy when I went in the Marine Corps. And I was a sole surviving son, and she had to sign the paperwork that waived me, because it was just something I wanted to be. And she went to those funerals too. But to her credit, you know, she let me continue on. So it's, you know, when I got there and I got that platoon, and you got to understand, these kids were Mexican, they were, you know, Hispanics, Native Americans. Some of these guys got sentenced to the Marine Corps by a judge. And they had all different, you know, they came from all walks of life. Poor, economically deprived, Some of them had a tough time putting a sentence together, and they all had their little lingo. You know, the troops always had their little lingo, kind of a fatalistic attitude about their particular circumstances where we were.
So did you have a short answer for them, or you didn't?
Well, you had to deal with every day was another day. Hey, Lieutenant, so-and-so just got a letter. I think he got Dear John. And he's really acting fishy. Okay, let's bring him down, see how he's doing. Now, I'm no psychiatrist, but I said, look, are you okay? And then we'd have to have a long discussion about, I don't want to get into your personal business, but is there something you need to get off your chest? Are you feeling bad about something? Because they're telling me now you want to walk point every day. That don't happen. You don't want to walk point every day because that's the position of greatest vulnerability. So, you know, it's little things like that you got to work on.
And how did that all advise him as chief of police when we come back? Awesome. So there's the colonel's swearing in. We are back here on the program. This Vietnam experience, obviously, by the way, you're the kind of guy that I can listen to, and I'm sure everybody agrees, listen to all night. But I wonder if the story that you tell, or the circumstances that you explain, how that advised your leadership of the police department.
Well, I still did it when I was there. I would sometimes take a situation where I had an officer that was operating in a subpar situation, and I was giving the chain of command a chance to work it out. And I'm sitting back and watching, and I'm saying, well, okay, how are we making out with so-and-so? Well, not so good. Okay, I'll be coming in at midnight. And I want you, and I want our project, our leadership project, we're going to work on it. So I'd sit down and then we'd chat, and of course, all of a sudden it's midnight. There's nobody around. I'm sitting in the chair. This person is in my office for the first time and is looking around and, oh my God, I'm in the chief's office. So I said, okay, sit down. I said, you have any idea what you're in here for? I think so. So look, how many more times is it, you know where it all starts, you come in late for work. What's the matter with the alarm clock? I mean, we're talking about something very simple here, okay? Because we're on the cusp right now of the charge sheet comes up, I'm going to have to sign it. You're going to have to get some serious discipline here because we can't continue to have this occur down at the platoon. It can't happen.
It feels pretty basic to me.
Yeah, it's very basic. It's very basic. So we talked about it. Came up with some solutions. I turned around to the boss and said, okay, Captain, we've had our discussion. Let's see how it works out. So I said, because you have my full attention. I'm watching. And fortunately, you know, in this particular situation, that officer is operating at a very high level. Now,
you like to lead. You like to lead. You like to manage.
Well, I like to do it in a way that is not necessarily too showy.
No, I mean,
because I want to give other people I want to give my sergeants, lieutenants, and captains, I want to have an opportunity for them to shine and show what they've got, because it's all about getting them an opportunity to succeed.
Well, you know, it's really interesting you say that, because you can weave a great tale. You're always offering a colorful answer to any kind of a question, yet I've never felt that you were trying to grab a microphone, ever. No. In fact, your management team is often available to news cameras and the like. I mean, the response, it's not like, well, McCartney, I can't say anything until McCartney shows up. You've always delegated that responsibility. You speak when spoken to, sometimes, you know, at length, but you don't seek it. That's an interesting dichotomy. You recognize that?
Well, it is, because I've always felt that same feeling. I said, look, I've got to teach these guys. I want them to succeed. And one of the things they've got to learn to do is they need to be media conscious. They need to respect the fact that the media has a job and you can't run away from it.
Right.
Even if it's a tough situation, learn how to handle it.
Yeah, and you've done that, no doubt. We'll have a laugh about that before we're done. You didn't get the gig in Providence. You were in
Yeah.
Providence for a long time.
Yep.
Did it bother you?
No, because I was a
Barney
realist.
Prignano got the job. The
Yeah.
politics, Buddy Cianci made him the chief. Everyone thought you were going to be the chief. Barney got arrested. What a colorful guy Barney was.
He was a very colorful guy.
And he was a pretty good cop, wasn't he?
He was a very good policeman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
he was.
By the way, are you bothered by the term cop? Is that
No.
Okay.
I
Just-
look at that
just-
as a term of affection.
All right. Just wanted to make sure. I don't want to screw this thing up. But soon thereafter, how long thereafter did the work job come up?
Let's see. I was promoted to major, which was right around the time that whole change.
Yeah.
The chief. That was in September of 1995. I continued on as the major in charge of all the investigative division elements, the detectives, juvenile, and BCI, until June of 1999.
Okay. So there was some time there. Difference between the work project and the Providence project?
Oh, definitely.
In what way?
Well, let me talk about the obvious: violent crime. Violent crime drives the train in Providence, because violent crime in Providence determines quality of life for a lot of constituents. And these constituents are a lot of good people living down in South Providence. They may not be on the high economic totem pole, but they're good people. A lot of them go to work every day, and it was difficult every time that I had to deal with a homicide. You could feel the tragic sense that family was going through, just like you could for any family. And you wanted to do the very best you could for those people. And a lot of times there were certain racial issues that would come up, and you'd work hard at trying to take that one step forward. Sometimes something would happen that would make the 2 steps back happen. But at the same time, you always had that feeling. I mean, I saw some that would just absolutely tear your heart out. I mean, these were good people.
Less so in work.
Warwick is a much different. Yeah, I mean, the one thing I noticed is that when I first got down there is, first of all, we had very little violent crime. Now, that's not to say we weren't busy. We're a very busy police department dealing with quality of life issues. And I said, well, you know what? The people like their police department here in Warwick. They want their quality of life. Granted, some of the issues that they talk about, it would be very easy for me, having come from Providence, I might say, are you kidding me? But no, I understood and respected the fact that they want their quality of life. They want their peace of mind. And when something comes along that disturbs that dynamic, then you got to step up to the plate and you got to make it sound like it's the worst thing on the planet.
I think I can summarize this by saying you had to make an adjustment.
Well, it was adjustment, but you know what? I understood it.
Right.
I understood
Didn't
the adjustment.
judge it. Evaluate
Absolutely
it.
not.
But didn't judge it. There's a difference.
You know what? It's all about respect.
Right.
You have to respect people. Like I said, even though on the totem pole, you might say, well, here's violent crime. Somebody's lost their life. What a horrible situation. Somebody's calling you about speeding cars down their street.
Yeah. It's a big
Granted,
deal.
it's a difference, but to those people, that's a serious problem.
No doubt. How to
And you got to respect it. You have to respect it.
how to separate the real loss
Yeah.
and do your job effectively when we come back.
Absolutely.
Stay with us. I could talk to the Colonel all day. He is retiring. He's retired. He's all done. He's still going to the gym. Doesn't play any golf. We'll fix that. A Nightclub Fire, just the worst thing in ever. We only have a couple minutes here. How did you separate the pain from doing the job every day, and what is it?
Well, I think the real pain was the experience of finally determining the magnitude of the problem. When I first found out about it, because they forgot to call me with all the pandemonium going on, I came into work and said, gee, West Warwick had a real bad fire. They lost 6 people. Now as I get in there, people that tell me, oh no, Colonel, it's worse than that. I said, it's really bad. I said, we may be talking about a lot of people. So I said,
And again,
well,
it wasn't your town, but you were.
well,
very,
here again, Peter Brousseau was the chief of police in West Warwick. We have a very good relationship.
Right.
I said, I got to give Peter a call. Couldn't reach him. He's got to be down there. Let's get down there. I got down there and I said, oh my God, look at this. This is terrible. Now all of a sudden, but I still didn't have a strong feeling that the real magnitude of how bad this tragedy was. Then all of a sudden I stayed there all day because I was trying to help them out, and all of a sudden the bodies, one after another, all day. And then I'm looking down and all of a sudden we're lining up the hearses all the way down Route 3 as far as you could see. And Father Marciano was there, who was our chaplain, and I was talking to one of the state troopers who happened to be a former Marine who worked with me in the Persian Gulf when we were involved in Desert Storm, Desert Shield. And I said, Scotty, have you ever seen anything like this? I said, with all the bodies we saw in Kuwait, I said, I don't think I've seen anything quite as bad as this in such a short area. It's terrible.
20 seconds on how you separate that from keeping your head up as a first responder in general.
Well, I think the big thing is today, which is good, particularly for this generation, peer support. And you got to have those after-action critiques, so that in case you see people that are really affected by this,
You got to know.
You got to know.
You got to know.
And you got to really watch your employees very carefully for those signs.
What's your, the colonel's going to come on the radio for a lengthier period of time because there's no way we can pack all this career into 20 minutes of television time. But what's your 10, 15 second thought on going out? I mean, is there executive summary on this?
Well, I haven't figured out the executive summary yet, but I have some family responsibilities. Half of my family lives out in Seattle, and I have 2 great granddaughters out there that I have. One I only saw when she was first born, so I'd like to reintroduce myself.
Well, thanks for introducing yourself to the law enforcement community in Rhode Island.
Well, that will never change.
You've been a credit. And
Thank you, sir.
I want to thank you so much for your service to both cities and to the country. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Dan.
I will give you a golf lesson. Maybe not. Final word when we come back. Seriously, they don't build them any better than Colonel McCartney. You know, nobody's flawless. But when it comes to getting the job done, having a reputation amongst his peers in law enforcement, and always remembering that it's really important to talk to you through us, nobody's done it better. So we wish him the best, and I'll get somebody better to give him a golf lesson. Like that's the least I can do for him, right? All right, terrific week. Thank you very much for tuning in. My guess is that you might see this show another couple of times because I could listen to him all day. He'll be on the radio soon in a couple of weeks for a longer conversation. Have a great weekend. Good night.